Sairam, for any structure, the foundations have to be strong. It should be ready to take the storms. For Sai Center, the foundations are love for Swami, devotion to Swami, and most importantly, the intense desire to make a place of haven where everyone who comes feels comfort, feels his love from all their own independent and individual storms. Our founders have laid this foundation, and it's important to reflect on our past so we can stay grounded and take the baton forward. One such founder is an engineer by profession and at heart. He has built this center with passion and complete dedication and love for Swami. In fact, I have a personal connection with him. I didn't know much about him initially when I joined the center, but as we got together through his daughter, through him, I have a connection with him as my father. He's my dad, and I am his daughter. Introducing our very own Ganesh Rajagopalan uncle. Sairam uncle.
Sairam Savi. Good to see you.
Uncle, I would like to start before I go. I want to tell you how much you mean to me. And a big reason for my association with Sai Center is you and your family. And I want to talk to you about this very picture that actually intrigued me when I came to your house the first time. This picture of Swami, I think it's from sometime in 2003. How did you get it?
I think in 2003, the center made a trip to Vrindavan.
Okay.
And of course, it has a lot of other stories to go with it. It was a time when Swami had his fall, and we were in fact told not to go. And I think the people of the center said, we'll go there at least to pray for Swami. Even if he doesn't see us, we'll go there. And Swami, I think a couple of days before we were supposed to wind up and leave, he graciously allowed the kids to present the play, and he sat through the whole play.
Despite the pain.
Despite the pain. That was the first darshan he had given after he had his accident. And he just sat through the whole play, gave darshan to all the devotees who had come to Vrindavan. And to cap it all the devotees who went on that trip, Swami presented a picture.
This picture?
Yes. So this one came from him. At least he asked people to hand it to us, and that's when I got this picture.
It's very beautifully framed.
Well, actually, Swami plans everything. It fit into this frame perfectly. I didn't have to do anything.
You didn't have to go look for it or look for
no,
a
I had the
frame that fits
I had the frame sitting in the house.
Yeah.
The picture came and it fit,
as if it was
yes,
meant to
yes,
be.
it was perfect.
Yeah. This is the centerpiece of your house. As soon as we enter, we have that. And I was very intrigued by this picture whenever I came first to your house to visit Rupa. So, Uncle, how did you? I know you are one of the founders of our Sai Center. How did you get into this Swami's fold, into Sai Center?
Well, it is nice that you said that I'm one of the founders, but actually, I don't consider myself as one of the founders. There were, I think you already talked to Shalina and Mrs. Surtani. And there were, I think by the time I came to the center, there were at least another 15, 20 people there.
Okay.
So so I was not a latecomer, but at the same time, I was certainly not.
Well, you
But
definitely
just
have
but I
earned.
think just because of longevity, I think I'm being labeled as one of the early people there.
Well,
So
you've
anyway,
earned
thanks.
it too.
Anyway,
You've earned it too.
Anyway, thanks.
Rightfully so. But how did you come into Swami's fold, and how did you get into Sai Center?
Well, it took a long time for me to come to Swami, or I'll put it in other words. Swami took a long time to prepare. It was sufficiently a hard nut for him to kind of get to the right state to bring to him. You can look at it either way.
He worked a lot on you.
Yeah, he had to work on me a little bit
Okay.
to find me right to come to him.
Does it have anything to do with your scientific and engineering mind?
I'm sure it had something to do with it, because I was total border atheist, and there's really couldn't understand why we would need any God or anything like that. So it was something, though I was familiar with Vedanta and Ramakrishna's and Vivekananda's books, and it looked very nice and reasonable. I still could not, and not that I can answer anything very well right now, but it certainly was, I was very far from being a devotee of anything. But I was interested. But the main reason I came was, I think I thought the family would benefit by attending bhajans, that people would probably feel a little bit happier if they were attending bhajans. So that was the thought that came to my mind. And I used to play tennis, which I still do. And Sharma Gunturi and Dharmarajan were my tennis partners at that time, in 1985. So one day I asked them casually, I said, is there any place where they have bhajans where, which I can attend? And they said, yeah, we go to bhajans at this place every Sunday. You're welcome to join us. And they gave me the rough idea of where the church was, where they were meeting.
Okay.
So
I think it was in Richardson or something.
It was in North Dallas. So it was on. So I said, well, okay. So the first time I tried to find it, I could not find it. It was on Hillcrest Avenue, and one Sunday I made a trip there. I was living in Richardson at that time, so it is not too far off. So I went there, and I just couldn't find the church, and I came home. But I didn't give up. The next Sunday, I think I must have talked to Sharma during the tennis session, and asked him, hey, where is it? So he probably gave me a little bit better directions. And so the second attempt, I found the church, and I don't recall the name, whether it's a Unity Church or some other church on Hillcrest Avenue. And that was my first, exposure to.
Did you know bhajans at that time? Because I know you.
No,
you and family were very good with English bhajans.
My wife could sing beautifully.
Yeah, Renu auntie sings very nice.
And my daughter also could probably. 1985, she was 11 years old. Yeah, I'm sure she could sing, but I could not sing to save my life. But the strange thing that happened was at the very first session, when I entered the thing, there was a picture of Swami, and of course, the men on one side, ladies on one side, and I walked in, and I have a tendency sometimes to go and sit in the front. So I went and sat in the first row. I didn't have any idea that it was reserved for
bhajan
singers or anything, but I sat in the first row, and I did that every time. All the times I attended the center since then, I'd always go and sit in the front row for some reason, though I couldn't sing at all. So that was my first visit, and I saw the picture of Swami, and I said, that's a nice picture of Swami. I had no idea of what Swami stood for or anything. I had heard a little bit about Swami when I was in Bangalore. I had heard that Vibhuti came from his pictures, and so I immediately dismissed him. I said, because from Ramakrishna background, so Ramakrishna had said, people with siddhis should not display their siddhis. So I said, somebody displaying siddhis, no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. But it is typical closed-minded thinking without asking the next question, what exactly does Swami have to say? No. I was a good closed-minded engineer. So this went on, but what attracted me to the bhajans and the people was, I only knew Sharma in the whole group. I didn't know, and Dharmarajan, Malti also would come. So it was not for socializing, just for that. The bhajans were excellent. The singers had one sheet with, I think, 8 bhajans or something, and they sang the same bhajans every Sunday for, I think, like 4 Sundays, and then they changed the sheet. So I still remember. Our Venkat, violin Venkat, our own Venkat. Yeah, he was one of the singers, and I still remember the song that he sang.
Oh, okay.
Nirakari Allah.
Oh, yes.
So I mean, so it was just, out of this world the way he sang, and of course Lakshmi Gunturi, when she sings, it's everything. Yes. So I was very fortunate to have listened to bhajans sung by some of her best singers, and that was immediately captivated me, though I could not sing to save my own life. The other thing that of course totally attracted me to the group was the discipline. There was no pin drop silence during the session, no disturbance, no kids running around, and having attended many other groups where not devotional groups, just any group of
any social setting,
where I for some reason I couldn't.
You could not fit in.
When you have something like a devotional session, it's nice when everything is quiet, disciplined. People know what they're there for a certain definite purpose, not for chatting and moving around and so on. So that made a big impression on me.
Allows you to reflect on yourself.
So though I didn't have anything to do with bhajans or not too much with spirituality, I was so attracted by these two things that I did not miss a Sunday bhajan for the next 6 months. And every time I would sit there and ask, what is Swami must be a good person to have such a group of people. So finally, I asked, and at that time, they never had any readings or anything after the bhajan session. So what exactly Swami had? What is his message?
Nobody knew.
No, and also socializing was discouraged. So we never stopped to chat with people and find out, no socializing. So it took about 6 months of this, and of course I had other things going on at the same time. There was, I think, from the Chinmaya mission, there was a Swami who was visiting, and at 5 o'clock in the morning he would meet in somebody's house, and I would go at 5 in the morning, every day to attend those sessions. So I was interested in spiritual matters, but from a very skeptical point of view. Just what exactly is going on? It is you can tell that it's something that always attracts you, but we don't know how or why. But anyway, after a long time of looking at this picture of Swami and saying, oh, Swami there must be something good about Swami, because such a group which sings so nicely and has so much discipline, it can't happen without him being very good. So I asked Sharma one day finally, hey, what does Swami have to say? You can imagine they never pushed anything about Swami, no message, nothing.
So from Kirtanam to Shravanam, you
Yeah,
came.
after 6 months, I finally asked Sharma, what is, so he said, well, here's a nice book that you should read. And he recommended Hislop's Conversations with Sai Baba. And that was a perfect book for me, because I don't know if you have read it, but it's Hislop asks Swami all the tough questions. And and then when I read all the answers, then I realized that what Swami had to say was exactly coincided with whatever I had learned about our own tradition, Indian tradition. What Ramakrishna had said, what the Upanishads had said, and so on. It's totally the same message. So I said, Swami is saying the same thing. So that was a big eye-opener to me. I said, so Swami, but of course still I was in that kind of skeptical mood, since I was already exposed to that message from the Ramakrishna mission. The only thing that had gone one step closer to Swami was he had the same message that I was familiar with, nothing new. But because Swami added one more step. At home we of course had a small shrine room, and I would do.
It's beautiful.
No, at that time it was not
structure.
like this, but
Okay.
it was simpler. And I would do the Gayatri, and of course Gayatri is most because we have spent like 6 weeks on a study circle on the Gayatri, and it's but the most powerful part of it is we understand that we somehow function, we are in a certain state. All these things, we don't know how it happened. And so there is something above us that prompts us, that motivates us. Even as a design engineer, creativity. I come up with something new. Where does it come from? Nothing. I really don't have any idea where creativity comes from. Though I teach sometimes. I teach that to kids and so on. But you have that sense of something is there that prompts us. So, though I was borderline atheist, that feeling was always there. There was something there. And
you had to go out to come back in.
But the thing that happened was, after a few days like this, after knowing more about Swami, then the smell of vibhuti came in the shrine room.
In your house.
So I said,
And you didn't have vibhuti in your house? Did you?
No, this sense, when you have the jasmine smell, it's so powerful. There's no jasmine in the house. So when that smell comes, you just say, where did that come from? And it was there for not just one day, few days. So then I said, okay. What they say in the Vedas must be true. That Swami, that God pervades. He's everywhere, So I better keep quiet. But that was the beginning of when I really said, okay, not only is Swami telling us the age-old truths, but you better believe them. They're not something that is just words. There is Swami may be in Puttaparthi, but he can make his presence known in a small house in Richardson.
A stroke of an hour.
Yeah. So that was the
That was
but you
the
can
next.
imagine. So I must be such a hard nut to crack that Swami had to do something like that. So whenever I see people who are devotees and have never had such experiences, I have to take my hats off to them, because it's must have been really tough devotee, bad devotee, or whatever, for him to go out of his way
Wow.
to do that.
That's an amazing perspective.
But after that, the other thing that also happened with regard to the Sai Center, I think one day I went and asked, I think there was a Dr. Seshagiri Rao, that's Umar Rao's husband. I said, you must have expenses for this. You're here. Can I can I contribute something to the expenses? And he said, no. It's all taken care of. We don't collect any money. I said, no, wait a minute. I've never heard of an organization that does not ask for money. So that was
30 years down.
that is a big eye opener, because, and I said, and of course that's the feature of the Sai Center, that we never ask anybody for money.
Donations.
And so that made a big impression on me. So that was the beginning of my getting into the Sai Center more actively and more deeply. So the first visit was in 85. In 86, by that time, having read about Swami and knowing a little bit more about him, having had these experiences, I said I have to go and see Swami. So while visiting my parents in Bangalore, I said I would drop in on Swami in Vrindavan. So my first visit, when I first saw Swami, was in Vrindavan.
1987?
1986.
86,
yeah.
Okay.
And it was from Jayanagar. It was 2 buses and so on. It is still not a big thing. So, and once I think we took a taxi, my whole family, my parents came with me. So we all visited Swami. Then when Swami went back to Parthi, I said, oh, I got to go to Parthi. So I took a bus.
In the same trip?
On the same 86, yeah. And I think I have a diary which kind of gives the exact dates and all that, but for sometime in the summer of 86. So I went by myself to scout the place. I had no idea. So I went to Parthi in 86 and by myself, and I reached there at I think at 9 o'clock at night. And I had no idea of anything. But the person sitting next to me, I think he was a lecturer in Swami's college. So he looked at me and he probably took pity on me. So the first thing he did was, let's go, there's a Ganesha. So we entered Ganesha gate. So we did the first namaskaram to Ganesha. Then he said, it's too late, the accommodations office will be closed. I'll show you where you must stay. And he took me to one of the sheds.
Okay, all the way in the back.
So he took me to the shed, and I went to the shed, and I said, no, coming from the US, I thought, any place will have motel rooms, fully furnished beds and, bed covers and bathrooms and all that, right? So here is this big shed, empty, almost, slate, and though it was summer, at that time it was a cold night in Puttaparthi. I don't understand what it was that made it cold that particular night. So I took one of my pants, I put it on the black slate. It was a slate floor. So I lay down on a slate. I didn't have a pillow. I put something else for my pillow. And the whole night I was shivering, and I was thinking, Swami, I came to see you. How come you're putting me through the ringer? But anyway, all for the good. At 4 o'clock, I couldn't sleep naturally. Got up, took a bath in the cold water, and went out and said, I had no idea of what's going on in Puttaparthi. So I asked somebody, what's next? When do we see Swami? So he said, well, go and sit there. At that time there was only sand and there was no Kurlant Hall, etc. in '86. So there was a waiting area where everybody lined up for lottery. So I went and sat there. There was nobody there because I went so early. I sat there, and by about 6-7 o'clock, the lines formed. Some 15 or 20 lines formed, and I was first in the line, in the first line, because I was been sitting there since
4 a.m.
since 5:30 or something, and I still didn't know what was going on. So somebody came with a bag, and he said, "What is this bag?" So you put your hand in it,
Tokens.
and yes. So I didn't know nothing. I knew nothing. So he said, "Put your hand in there." So I put my hand in there, and I pulled out number 1.
Number 1, wow.
And I still didn't know what it was.
What number 1?
So I asked the guy behind me. I said, "What does it mean? What's this token mean?" So he said, "Don't worry, I'll show you." So when it was time to go in, he showed me where to go and sit. So we went and sat down on the sand, and of course, Swami came. And he first, of course, ladies' side, then he came to the men's side, and he came straight and stood in front of me.
Oh my God, Sai.
Me, of course, I'm borderline still atheist. So I didn't know. Nowadays I know what I would have done, but I closed my eyes. If you can believe this, Swami standing in front of me. So when Swami was standing right in front of me, I should have had Padma Namaskar or asked him for an interview or something, but none of those things occurred to me. I just closed my eyes and I requested Swami to be with me always. That was the only prayer I had at that time, which was, thinking back about it, he's always with us. So really the prayer should have been, let me be with you. Let me be with you all the time. That was the right prayer, but even that I didn't know. And Swami has always been with me since that time. So that was the first, and then later on I took Renu and Vikram and Rupa to Parthi. I think about a week later I went.
Oh, in the same trip?
The same trip,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
And we got accommodations in one of the round buildings. Yeah.
Nicer ones now.
We got. I didn't realize, how fortunate we were. We got a very nice room, and it had mats and everything else. So we spent a nice couple of days, and so that is the beginning of the association with Parthi. Then coming back to the center, I think since we were regularly going to the center, one of the devotees named Kalyani Anandaraman, she's the wife of Dr. Anandaraman, who they lived in Bonham in Texas, and they would drive 60 miles to come to
for the Sai Center.
yes.
This is when there were not many Sai centers in US.
At least in Dallas there was only this one thing, and so she said, well, why don't you put Vikram and Rupa in Balvikas?
They were probably 10 at that time.
So I think that was the beginning of, I think in '86 I think they joined Balvikas, I think. So that was the beginning of that part of their journey. And
which became your journey.
Yeah, yes, and of course, I was getting more involved in the center, with all these, with Swami's blessings. So I think for some reason they said, well, why don't you become the treasurer of the center? There's no such office. There's no such office bearer these days called a treasurer. But for some reason they said they wanted me to be the treasurer.
Treasurer, okay.
I said, what? Anyway, I said, yeah, fine, I'll be the treasurer.
Anyhow, you can be
So I
part
was the
of the
first
center.
treasurer, and of course the main thing that my business was handling the any money. So sell books, and at that time, the U.S. organization wanted us to pay the local taxes and all that. So I would for the next couple of years or 3 years or whenever I was the treasurer, I would sell all the books. Then I would calculate what the tax was, and I would actually remit the tax to the state
Oh, wow.
and fill out all the forms and all that. And I think now I don't think we.
Yeah.
The second treasurer was Kalyan Ram. I think he had more common sense. I think he stopped that because we don't charge anybody taxes, and we don't need to.
There's
It's such
no
a
need
small
to
amount.
ask.
It's not a big thing. But that was my first exposure as an office bearer, though it was a very minor thing. But it was exposure to how the center works, and definitely I took interest in how we set up the place, because
Yeah.
we
The Ishwara
because very soon after we were in that church, we had to move to a Unitarian church on Central Expressway.
I believe you had some contribution to finding the right church, and there was a lot
Well,
of.
everyone, but I don't.
You were
I think
on the lookout for it.
Sathya knows. During the early years, we had to. One of the main occupations we had was always being on the lookout for a place to meet, and so there was a different Unitarian group, not the present Unitarian group we are with. This Unitarian group actually moved to a church on Pleasant Valley later on, and but the Unitarian groups have always been kind of very broad-minded, and so we were with them. I forget, for a few years anyway, and once you get involved, just like Prasanna and Sathya, how deeply they've been involved, and how much they. So first thing we do is we try to be of some use, setting up, and
And then it's no turning back.
yeah, then you totally like to have things be part of it. So that is.
And Swami actually took care of your skills. He made sure that the amazing engineer that you are, you built so many. My kids have been part of your plays and the props that you did for Ishwara
Yeah, I think that was a lot of fun. Yeah, because the kids would have Ishwarama Day plays, and anything that had been built, I would be involved in building it. And of course, it takes many hands to do it. Many people did the painting, and somebody else did the makeup. Somebody else had the props, and I mean, it's not just one person. It is the main thing about a Sai Center is everybody pitches in. Everybody pitches in, and we are all.
And Swami brings the best of all of us.
Yeah, that is.
The center brings that.
And that's the main thing we should have in a church is cooperation and unity, and that is the beauty of a good Sai Center.
Yeah. I think you have, apart from the Sai Center, like I came in about 20 years ago to Sai Center, and for me, you've always been around, and I always used to wonder. And the big part of Swami's threefold path, the Bal Vikas and the devotion, which is the bhajans, and then the last part, the last leg is the service, the seva. And I think you've been part of the bhajans, you've been part of the SSC, and I know you've been integral with the Austin Street Shelter seva.
Well, yes.
I think how did the name come to the picture?
I think the center was getting more into what Swami wants from a center, to be active in seva activities. And around the time I joined, there might have been some which I was not aware of, but that was the beginning. 86 was about the beginning of trying to find. Why are we just meeting for bhajans is not enough. Swami wants us to be active in seva, and I think Uma Rao was the president at that time, and I think she must have been aware of what other centers also do, because we're not alone. So 1986, the center decided that we need to be, as a center, we need to do some seva activities.
Community outreach. Yeah.
And Uma, I think one day she said she had a dream about this place, this with a fence and all that. She had seen something, and this Austin Street shelter name had come to her. Yeah.
Oh, it came in the dream?
I don't know if the place, the appearance of the place and so on.
Of the place. Okay.
Yeah, I think. But anyway, that was the beginning of our association with the Austin Street Shelter in 1986. And the first time we went, it was all just sandwiches. We just took sandwiches, and
you would make it in the center.
And the Austin Street Shelter was on a street called Austin Street in downtown Dallas.
It's not where it is right now.
No, it was so it was big shed there, and we knew it was a coalition of churches that had started it, and they allowed us to be part of it, and that was the beginning of it. And then I think they moved from there to another building, and then from there to another building very close to where they are now, and of course now they have moved into a brand new building. So and it has evolved. I mean, what we have been doing with them changed slowly from sandwiches to I think we had a menu of 4 different dishes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 4.
Yeah,
okay.
there were 4. Yeah, at one time it could be macaroni, bean bake. It could be some chili. It could be spaghetti. So it will rotate. So that's what we were providing for some time. Then it simplified to something else. And then in winter, Kalyan Ram would have soup, hot soup for winter.
He would make it?
I mean, he and whoever else was designated make a big pile of nice vegetable soup. And so we did that, and it evolved, and it's still evolving. And so it's nice to see each coordinator having their own ideas being put on it. So it's so we've been associated with that for quite a while.
I think the shelter organizers really appreciate the constant, like, we never miss a day, we never miss a spot, and you have never missed. I think.
No, I don't think if I'm in city, I've never missed a
single.
No, I've not. So long if I'm in town, I'll make sure
And
I'm
Uncle,
there.
your spaghetti is the best. I know when
I won't
after the seva is completed, and if we have any leftovers, a bunch of us would stay back and we eat that.
Well, I mean, everybody's spaghetti is good. I mean, it's all made with Swami's blessings and love. So the other projects we got into, which I think we got associated with the Castle Manor Nursing Home, which I think Sathya is familiar with, because he used to be the coordinator for a long time till this COVID came, and that's continued. So those were the 2.
Are those the oldest seva
those
activities
those are the 2 main things that we had, but then I'm sure that we had a lot of other seva activities too. I think we also took on the McKinney shelter for a while, and then of course, later on when Mukesh became president, I think we took on the Gateway shelter, which I was the first coordinator for that. the one in the gate.
Oh, really? You coordinated Family Gateway.
Family
Nice.
Gateway. Yeah.
Nice.
I think Sham was the service coordinator at that time. So he said, would you like to do that? I said, sure. And so we did that for a few years, and that continues. So so I always think that at least the ones we started, we should somehow continue and make sure they can evolve. They don't have to be in the same form all the time. But at least we should continue those. And but Seva is not just with the community. It's people have to understand that Seva is just an attitude that we have to take with everything that we do. And so if you keep that in mind, that's of course Swami's intention. That's all. It's just an attitude.
That's the core, right?
Yes.
In our center, that it has to be that attitude.
Yes.
So, Uncle, if I may ask, what is today, after such a long journey from Kirtanam to Shravanam to Padasevanam, in the sense, you're serving Swami through all these seva activities. What do you think is the few core identity of this Sai Center that you are so associated? I think Sai Center has evolved along with you. From where you said that there was a small place.
Well, there's nothing totally. I mean, something unique about our center. It's like if you go to any other Sai center, there will be some differences. So we should be listening to what Swami has to say, and follow that. And it's
as long as we are part of Swami.
And of course, the main thing we have to do is try to take care of the people who come to the center. And for a while I was, because of say background in reading and so on, I was involved in the study circle quite a bit. Initially, in the first few years, I used to be the coordinator for the study circle, and I did that for many years till I think about 1999. There was a need for Bal Vikas teachers. So once I got into teaching Bal Vikas, so like you said, we have three wings. We have the devotional wings. So I started singing slowly, and my singing was so bad. Then I found there was only one place where I could probably get my foot in, where people did not object to my singing. That was English bhajans, because very few people would.
Your family is known for that. Every time Vikram or Rupa or Auntie or you, it's always English bhajans.
And the only reason I was doing English bhajans was because no one else was willing to sing. So they said, well, this guy doesn't sing very well, but at least he tries. So he sings English bhajans. So I got into bhajan singing through English bhajans, and so to this day, since the thing that attracted me to Swami was the bhajans and the discipline, those two things are still very close to my heart, and I guess I'm still learning. And
amazing.
Vikram is my son, of course. He knows all the bhajans,
Yes,
all the words. If I don't know the words to anybody, I'll ask him. He'll tell me.
And it's beautiful to hear what the two of you sing together at the
And
center.
but I did get into all aspects of the activity. I did a little bit of seva, got into the study circle, a little bit of singing, and got into the Bal Vikas teaching, so that I had a little experience in all the different areas. And the Bal Vikas was probably the most intense in terms of, because there, once you start telling other people what to do,
you have to follow it.
Yes, I had to. The main thing, the most difficult thing is to follow. And to this day, yeah, I'm still very much a learner. So, but Bal Vikas is a very good training ground for Sai devotees.
It is.
And
It
I'm so
is.
happy that our center, we have, that's one thing nice about, we encourage all the parents to get into teaching.
Yes.
And no better way of getting to know themselves and
Swami
about
and the
Swami
kids.
and its personal growth. So I would highly recommend.
It's definitely a big,
Yeah, yeah.
a very subtle way of getting
Yeah.
the whole family involved.
Yes.
And I think with you starting with the bhajans, even your family has been such a, part and parcel of
and
our Sai Center.
and that is one of the big strengths of our Sai Center was the Balvikas, the educational Sai education was very well run by Uma Rao, and it was it grew because of the way she she brought it up, and all the people, of course, helped. So many people got involved, and everybody helped, and it helped with the growth because many devotees come because the children would go to Balvikas, and you'd hear the story many times. Parents will come, leave their children, and go off to the mall or go about their work. But then finally, because of the children's involvement, they would get into the Sai thing, and
When they
then
see
they'd
that,
learn about
yes,
Swami.
when they see that Swami is,
So it's the most
is
vital
leading
part
them.
of the. So I think that is. You asked what is special about our Sai Center. I would say it's the emphasis on Bal Vikas and getting everybody involved in it, the whole center, the parents, and it's the natural way of growth, because once we have the young people, then the next generation is taken care of.
And and your family is a perfect example because Rupa, having studied Balvikas, uh,
Oh
you
yes,
know,
I think both
Rupa and both of
Both
them
of them
having studied,
went through the whole
they
of Bal
continue
Vikas.
to implement that. The memory that I have about Rupa is that she would smile every time. And the first time I saw her, she was handing off those. She was so passionate about being the eco green and Swami's. Uh, you know, this, all Swami said was love, and she would just do that, do nothing but love. And she used to tell me about how Balvikas has helped her loving other people, and she was so forgiving and so compassionate. And I want to bring that up as a tribute to her.
Oh yes,
And
and
if she was here, she would have talked all about Swami and her experiences with him.
yes, I think yes, Rupa was special. Yeah, she had the opportunity to take part in one of the summer courses in 1995,
I see.
and when she was part of the U.S. group that went to the summer course that year, and she was very fortunate to be called in for an interview
Oh my! Oh,
with Swami at that time, and of course,
wow!
and being a little bit tall, Swami I think called her a coconut tree, and I think she talked to her, but she never told us what exactly Swami told her. I think the only other thing I know that she said, I think Swami told her, "Oh, your parents are very worried about you," and that's the only part that I heard. But she was the only one in our family who has had the, but
What?
and that's because of the benefit of being in Balvikas. Yes.
And you bringing them into Swami's fold, and so Rupa completed your regret about closing your eyes in front of Swami. He took care of her. He brought her into the interview room. So that's wonderful. A perfect closure. So, Uncle, what do you think, with 40 years down the road and you being so engaged in all the wings of the center, from administration to all the activities, and as you have seen this new generation is evolving, what is the message you would want to give to the new emerging devotees? And as you know, that the newer generation, they were either very small when Swami's physical presence was here, or maybe never seen Swami in physical presence. And what do you think is a message that you would want either the center to promote, um, which particular message of Swami, or what kind of attitude should the new devotees, what message do you have for them?
Swami was the avatar of the age, of this particular age. And so everything he tried to teach us is very sound, very rational. It's subject to, say, somebody like me being very, extremely hypercritical, and it meets all those requirements. But the message, though it sounds like a cliche, the same words by somebody else would be a cliche. When Swami says it, it's no longer a cliche. When he says love all, serve all, it's gee, that's like, IBM, they put a little label on their wall, think. or if you work, I used to work for Ford, quality is job number one. And I have an allergy towards slogans, because you put the slogan up and you think you've done your job. That's the end of it. But that's the worst thing that can happen, is to put up a slogan and not follow it. It's worse than it's better not to put a slogan, because if you put the slogan up and you don't follow it, it's like double, indemnity or whatever. It's terrible. So I would prefer no slogans in anything. It's Swami's words are not cliches. They are something that were based on something that is universal, that was propagated in India about 5,000-6,000 years ago, and we are still struggling to make it real. But Swami has gone one step further. He's given us nice little steps how to attract people into this path, into his orbit. Sai education is one way of attracting people into our path. Seva is always another way of thinking. And of course, ultimately, it's our individual behavior. Everybody who puts on inside is, you don't have to put it on your sleeve or put a big. Please don't mistake me. Whenever I see center people wearing T-shirts with all these badges and all that, I cringe. I say, no, we need to actually practice it, not put labels.
As long as we put it, we practice it.
We should
that's
practice
good.
it, but
we should practice it.
But it's such a we need to emphasize that, and it's not easy. I'm not saying, and I'm nowhere near getting close to practicing what Swami wants us to practice, but that is our duty.
And you have definitely
We have
come a long way.
And all of us. And I still have this question: how do we get other people to change and do something different? And Swami has always said, you have to be the person. You have a responsibility. You have to be the example.
Be the example.
Yeah, you have to be. So the Sai devotees, when they come to the center, we should figure out how to encourage ourselves through satsang and so on to exemplify what Swami wants us to do. So, because that is the best example for getting other people to get into follow Swami.
And I hope our center continues to do that. Where we are from a small place of 5 or 6 people to today, I think we have about 200 or so Balvikas, and
And there are many, 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 many people who know about Swami. But I think every one of us is Swami's, ambassador in a sense. And that's what we have to remember. And we cannot go wrong if we follow him.
And you have been a great ambassador.
Well,
I think you have followed all the.
we
You
tried.
started
I mean,
off
I-
with the
I
bhajans,
tried,
and then you
yes.
ended up with. In today, you are the guiding baton, and we want to take it from you.
And we can do much better. I mean, it's the younger generation has much better ideas. They do it much better than we did, and I would like to encourage them. As I was mentioning, one of the special things about our center is the educational program, and we had a very solid beginning with Umar Rao, and then we continued that with every subsequent SSC educational coordinator. Vijaya Gunturi, just outstanding. It was one of the most difficult things is to get all the children in the whole region together for a play to take to Swami.
Yeah.
So we did that in 2003, and we did that again in 2005. In 2008, we didn't have a play; we just had music. But you can imagine, the skills involved in getting so many people together. So every educational coordinator we have had has been a gem, and it's been one of the special things that we've had in our center.
That is I think if I'm not wrong, correct me. I think the Group 4 concept was initiated. I don't know if it started here. I don't know that, but I think the Group 4
kind of
ABC
started off in
grew very much in this center.
Yes, because in 1999, 2000, I was helping Vijaya Gunturi. She was the main teacher, and we used to teach two classes, one after another, 3C, and there was no 4, but we had the leadership class after that. It was just no name to it.
So we were already doing it. We just didn't put a name to it.
But because the kids were not yet graduating from high school at that time, so they wanted to come to the center, so we offered the leadership as a last class, and then it evolved from there. It became formal. I think the U.S. organization 4A, 4BC came after that.
That's what I think was the uniqueness, that
Right.
we were already doing something on that grounds before the program was officially announced.
Because because the children wanted to, they had not yet finished graduating from high school, and so they were still coming.
They wanted to keep the Sunday schedule.
So we did that, and that is, but the outstanding educational coordinators, yes. That's one of the features.
Definitely a jewel for us. So, Uncle, you have been the president also. You've had that office bearer position from, I think,
1997 to 1998, 2 years.
2 years you were. And before that also, you've been, I think, how many centers have been around in the Dallas?
The physical locations.
Physical locations, yeah. How many have been there?
I think it's looks like about 8 that I can think of, and my memory is not very good. But we first met in the first time I went was the church on Hillcrest, and then the second one was the Unitarian Church on Central Expressway in Richardson. And then I think we had another place again on Central Expressway, close to where the India Association was. Okay. And then we met at another place in Richardson again, close to Campbell Road.
I remember that one.
And then we met in another place, again on the border of Garland, Richardson, close to Buckingham Road, I think also. then finally, I think we got to this uh, Christian church on Mimosa, where we were for 2 or 3 years. And when that pastor moved, the new pastor wasn't so keen on having a non-Christian group, because usually the Christian church is one of the most, they hold on to the Christian beliefs very strongly. But when the pastor moved to the new Christian church on Park and Independence, he was able to get us there. And
he brought you there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so we were there for a year, but the congregation was not keen on having people with pictures and things, so they were not comfortable. So poor pastor had to let us go. The pastor was broad-minded, but the congregation was not. So we next went to a Lutheran church at Beltline and Coit, near that area, and we were there for about a year, I think, and then we were told that they needed all the space.
They were running out of space.
Well, that is usually and we can understand it. It's nothing. I'm not saying anything against any of the churches.
It's the challenges that Swami put us through.
It is what they have their own way of looking at things, and we have a way of looking at things. And so then we went to another Lutheran church on Buckingham and I think Plano, somewhere in that area. And after that, we were lucky enough to get to this Unitarian church where we are now.
We've been here for a while, right? Yeah.
So during the time that I was the president, I think we moved, I think about 3 times. I think at the beginning, in the middle, and anyway. So I had the experience of that, and so we seriously, had a group of people, our devotees started saying, why don't we have our own building? Then we don't have to
move
around, and we have a Bal Vikas program. We need some good rooms and all that. So they seriously got into looking at properties and all that. Around that time, Michael Goldstein, who was the U.S. President of the organization, he happened to talk to Swami about this and get his permission to let us do this. And Swami had some strong opinions on that. He said he doesn't want the center itself to go directly into this activity, because then they will divert from their spiritual mission, and they would start concentrating on fundraising. But he, at the same time, did not say that you could not do it so long as you didn't get into the center itself could not get into the fundraising part of it. It should concentrate on its main thing. And so we basically at that time were not able to figure out how to structure it so that some devotees who are really keen on doing this. Swami never said, for example, in Ottawa, in Canada, somebody who is able to just buys the whole thing and just gives it to the center. So similarly, a separate organization could do the whole thing and then give it to the center. So that's not something that he said you cannot do. But the center itself has its own mission, and it should follow. And we have been very fortunate, and all our presidents have been following that directive from Swami to the letter.
That's true.
But it's good for the devotees to know that these buildings don't just appear out of nowhere. That they have to. It's a struggle to support it, and thing which no one mentions, but it is there.
And with Swami's
and Swami's grace has been with us in this. We've been able to do it very nicely.
Yes, and him telling that we should not be asking or do any fundraising definitely has kept us going in this way, and we've continued our mission that he has, his mission that he wants us to follow.
And by Swami's grace, we're very close to having, something that will be, a building for the Sai organization sometime pretty soon.
And you're doing a great job with that Vijnana Kosha that you teach at
No,
in the Sai Center.
we're all learning.
You've been doing that.
Every one of us is learning, and we have to just keep on at it, keep learning, and keep thinking how can we do better, individually and for ourselves, and because the key thing is, it's Swami doesn't want us to go off into the jungle, into the forest, or into the Himalayas, and go only for self-realization. No, Swami says, we be in the society and live this life properly, and at the same time realize, the oneness that he represents. So that is the great thing about Swami. He doesn't. Many other spiritual organizations are there, but they always seem to say, "Oh, if you want to be really spiritual, you need to give up all this and grow a nice white beard and change to a Giruva and go to the forest and starve yourself." No, Swami says, no, live this life nicely, properly, and if you do it with this feeling of oneness, you will make progress. It's guaranteed.
Do you think you have made progress?
Yes,
we all
I have definitely made progress, and it may take another few lives. It doesn't matter, but we don't know, and don't even have to worry about such things. We have to worry about this life, how to live this life. Swami has told us, so we should just concentrate on this life. Don't worry about future things.
Thank you so much, Uncle, for this wonderful jewels that you have shared from where you were and where you are today, talking about Swami and giving us the message. We are really blessed to have you as one of our oldest center members.
Well, thanks to Swami. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram. Behind every man there is a woman who is always standing by, and Ganesh Uncle's wife, Renu Auntie, has been a big pillar in his life, and our influence and his influence into Sai Center. And they've been married about 51 years. Renu Auntie grew up in Canada, and she has some wonderful experiences of Swami. Let's hear from her. Sai Ram Auntie.
Sai Ram Savi.
Tell me, what do you like the most about Swami, and if you can share any experiences about Swami.
Yes. The thing I like most about Swami is that you can have his grace whether you're a president or whether you're a SSC teacher or anything like that, doesn't count. His grace is on everybody.
His grace is on
You
everybody.
don't have to be a president or an SSC teacher to get his grace.
You can be anybody, and
you will have his grace as long as you are honest and as long as you are kind and good, you will have his grace.
That is beautiful.
My experience starts when I was a little baby. My mother had left me in the living room and gone out just for a minute to another room, and they all heard a big thud in the living room, and they rushed and they saw that the fan had fallen in the hall. And I feel now that Sai Baba saved my life. At the time we didn't know about Sai Baba. We are not Sai devotees or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But
as you come along into
as I
Swami's
came along into Swami's fold,
he was always there for you. You just didn't know about it.
Yeah, I didn't know about it.
Yeah, but now you know
now
that
I
he was
know
there.
that it was him that saved my life.
That's a beautiful, it
Uh,
feels good when you realize it, right?
yes, yes, yes.
That's wonderful. Beautiful. And I think you also shared with me about what stands out about Swami's message about religions, right? That's something that's very close to you.
Yes. I think he accepts all religions in
Mm-hmm.
people, in
Mm-hmm.
his followers, in his devotees. And he thinks that if you're a Hindu, you should be a good Hindu. If you're a Muslim, you should be a good Muslim, and so on. And that really struck a chord in me.
Mm-hmm. That
And
anybody can be whatever they are as
yeah,
long as
whatever they, as long as they're honest.
they're honest, kind, and
Okay.
loving.
Yes.
That's beautiful, Auntie. Thank you so much for being as part of the Sai Center for so many years along with Uncle. What do you think you like the most about our Dallas Sai Center?
I like the what do you call it? The discipline
The discipline.
and the three divisions of the Sai Center, which is the educational division, the devotional division, and
The
the
service activity.
and the service activities.
Yeah.
I like all of them. I like the clear division of them, and the way it's run by our president, and
Everything
it's
is
where everything is so organized. So that's what I like.
Swami has laid out the guidelines for making it
Yes.
so organized and simple, and yet it's complicated, but still you make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being part of our Sai Center, Auntie. We look forward to see you all the time at every bhajan and every study circle, and we're so happy that you continue to come and bless this center.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Auntie. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram Savi.
Apple doesn't fall away from the tree, and Ganesh uncle laid the right foundations for his family, and we have another wonderful, exemplary devotee of Swami who is following to the word, a wonderful, loving, and very, very humble and very soft person. Always, I have never seen him without being in a study circle. He's never loitered around while the study circles or the bhajans are going. I have heard him tell his parents that I'm not going to go anywhere, I'm going to miss my football match because I'm going to come to the study circle or bhajans. And today he has gone and he joins his dad for the bhajans, and he joins the study circle, and he's definitely an integral part of our Sai Center. Let's welcome Vikram Rajgopal, son of Ganesh uncle. Saram Vikram.
Saram.
Hey. What do you like the most about Swami? You've been here with Swami for so many years, and you're a graduate of our SSC program, Balvikas program. What do you like most about Swami?
That he tells the right thing for us to do, and that he helps people.
He helps people. Yeah. And I think you have really followed, you help around at home, you help around at Sai Center, and you're always around. So, yeah, you're definitely following. What do you like most about Sai Center? You know, the Sunday visits that you've been doing for so many years.
The study circle, the bhajans, the service, the people.
The people? What do you like about the people?
They're always kind and nice.
They're kind and nice, which is what Swami wants all of us to do. Yes. Vikram, why don't you share an experience with your with Swami that brought you closer to him?
The the trip in 2003 when me and my dad, we all went with the group to Brindavan, and he wasn't feeling well. And I remember that Krishna Swami uncle came and got me, and and we started praying, and then Swami came out to the place where
Everybody was sitting.
everybody was sitting, and the play was going to begin, and that brought me closer.
Was that the first time you saw him in person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You were mesmerized with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vikram, for being part of this Sai Center for so many years.
And I like the young adults.
You like the young adults, I know. I think we've had some events where we have talked about the football matches along with, we've even prayed. I know prayed to Swami, please make this team win.
Yeah.
And he does. So thank you so much, Vikram.
Thank you.
Sairam.